Hey folks, welcome to Code and Concrete, where we share the latest trends and the stories of trailblazers in the built environment. We hope you gain some insight from our wide range of topics such as real estate development and sustainability, or blockchain, artificial intelligence, and data. Joining us today is Bobola Odebiyi. Bobola, a certified public accountant, is the founder and CEO of CrossCutie, a blockchain-based cross-border payments platform for banks, payment platforms, and merchants. After leaving PwC, where he co-led the blockchain community, Bobola launched CrossCutie as a side project. It quickly gained traction, organically acquiring over 500 US users. This success earned him recognition by American Inno as a 2024 startup to watch and a feature on the NASDAQ Tower in Times Square. Let's start there. How did that feel to be on the NASDAQ Tower in Times Square?
Thank you, Matthew, for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity. I mean, that was a great opportunity. It's something I wasn't expecting to happen. But after participating in the NASDAQ Milestone Makers program, one of the benefits was getting featured on NASDAQ Tower. I went to New York so that I can take pictures right there when that happened. I mean, that was a dream come true.
But it has to be really rewarding to receive that recognition. How many years in the making is CrossCutie?
It's been 3 years now. And I mean, that recognition was, a testament to the work that we are doing at CrossCutie, bringing seamless cross-border payments to people and businesses, utilizing blockchain technology.
So you mentioned blockchain just now.
Yeah.
Why does a cross-payment platform need blockchain? How does blockchain enable that?
Yes. We know the cross-border payments has been it's using a legacy technology that's very old, making it ineffective, very expensive. And cutting out lots of people, businesses out of the global trade. With the invention of blockchain technology, it's really helped to make cross-border payments very fast to process, inexpensive. I mean, right now, I can send funds to someone in China within minutes, unlike the legacy infrastructures that can take up to 3 business days and very expensive to send. So if a business is paying a supplier in China from the US, and they need the goods to be processed, to be shipped out right away, it's taking those 3 to 5 business days can really slow down the shipment of the products.
Yeah, the instant settlement between people or institutions has been talked about a lot recently because as an operational efficiency, the amount of time saved and intermediaries that you can cut out or remove. I don't know how many people have done business across borders, but if they have, they know that it's actually quite a complicated process. And even if you and I wanted to send money, there's apps now, but if it's going to be a large sum of money, it's going to be a wire transfer. And that means I'm going to take a 10-digit routing number and then a 25-digit account number, and I have to copy and paste it perfectly. And if I don't do that, then the money gets lost in transit. And then there's still that time. Is it after 4 p.m.? Are the banks open? Are they going to call me and ask about it? People don't realize how complicated sending money can actually be. Mm-hmm. So I want to ask, how did you come to the realization that this was something that needed to be fixed? And then if you want to add to that, when did you realize that blockchain was a potential solution?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I mean, being an immigrant, from Nigeria, I have the experience of sending money back back home. Quite often, either to support families or, to do, different things. And so, I have that first-hand experience, of the pain points of sending money to another country. And so, I've always wanted to, I've always been looking into the, possible solutions on how to solve this problem, not just for myself, but, for other people, not just for immigrants, but, businesses that are, participating in global trade. And so, when I got introduced into cryptocurrencies, I continue to look more into the real use cases of blockchain technology. And so when I joined PwC, I quickly joined the blockchain community of interest, where I co-led that community when I was at PwC, to really dig deep into the technology. What are the real use cases? And so one day I was like, maybe I should try using it, testing it out to send money to Nigeria. And I did. And my recipients received more than if I'd used, the current platforms out there. And, I saved a lot in fees. And so I shared that experience with some of my friends and family, and they started reaching out to me, and so that's what led me to leave in PwC, because I'm like, I think I have a solution that I can actually commercialize to help, commercialize to, that can, solve cross-border payments.
And what's it like taking the leap from the corporate financial life into the startup life?
I think I must be crazy, leaving that, job security at PwC to become an entrepreneur. It's been an interesting journey. Definitely, I've learned a lot. I didn't expect to take this long, on the journey before, we can actually make success. But I've also been exposed, to a lot in terms of, like, the connections I've made in the industry, understanding, building fintech company from scratch, and also the possibilities of building a company that can actually that's actually solving real problem in the world today. It's been a great experience. It definitely has its ups and downs, but I believe there's this the fact that I have that first-hand experience, and I know there's a lot of people experiencing the pain points of sending money across borders. So that's what made me to, like, okay, I wanted to build something that could address these pain points, using blockchain technology, and that vision actually outweighed the security of a corporate job.
Well, they say the best founders will start companies that are solving problems that they themselves have encountered. And I think that you are the perfect story for that, and a really good argument for blockchain, because there's a lot of people who were attracted to the space to make money, or they just wanted to use the tech, and you have to work backwards at that point and figure out where your solution can be applied. But you started with a problem and wanted to resolve that problem with a new technology.
Yeah.
The blockchain community at PwC, when did that start? How did you get involved? What was it like? Is it still going? And I mean, is this something that people can get involved in?
So it's a firm, it's for PwC, staffs across the world. I believe it was just starting out when so because of my involvement in, the crypto space, so I reached out to a partner who was overseeing blockchain technology and other emerging technologies. Then the partner was in Hong Kong and China. And so I reached out to him, and he connected me with a manager at the PwC New York office. So even though I was on the tax financial services, I was part of the tax financial services group. Because of my interest in the blockchain technology, emerging technologies, I was doing little work with the advisory financial services group in New York. And so that's how I got introduced to the blockchain community team, and I started, and I quickly, became one of the people co-leading that group.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I mean, kudos for taking the initiative.
Yeah, thank you.
But it wasn't your first time hearing about or using blockchain. You had some crypto experience before that?
Yes, yes. I've, I, my first introduction to crypto was actually like when, Ethereum was like $6, $7, $8, and I was like, wow, this is really interesting. Like I just saw it going up, So that was spring of 2017. So I've been, following crypto since then. I've been very, very much interested in the actual technology, not just crypto for trading, investing, but like the underlying technology, the blockchain. Like I've always been interested in the real use case, for that technology. So, and that's what really, really got my interest in how can we utilize this technology to solve real life problems.
From the time that you first got involved when Ethereum was $7 and it's 2017 to now, how would you describe the changes that you've seen in crypto, Web3, blockchain, whether that's startups or enterprise adoption? What have you been noticing about the industry?
Definitely, it has matured a lot from, when I first, got exposed to the industry. I mean, a lot of there's a lot of projects that are actually, on enterprise grade right now, to really, solve real problems out there. I mean, definitely there are still blockchain projects that are, people building, siloed projects just for blockchain. But where I'm seeing now is the intersection of blockchain technology with traditional industries, right? The intersection of blockchain and traditional finance, right? Blockchain and insurance, blockchain and supply chain. There's been a lot. The industry has really matured a lot, and which is really a good thing, proving the viability of the technology, that it's not just for investments, it's not just for trading, it's not just for meme coin out there, right? Just to quickly get in and quickly make money, but it's a technology that's actually useful for to solve real problems, and which is really a good thing, especially with the current administration, throwing a lot of support behind the technology. We will be seeing very projects that will be building on top of the technology to solve real life problems.
If you had to take a guess, how many years do you think? Because I usually say, I will reference that Steve Jobs was talking about everyone having a personal computer that could fit in their pocket in 1973. And now we do have mobile phones. And so I like to guess how long it might take for the current legacy financial systems to be replaced by blockchain, or at least have blockchain fully integrated. And it's a little tricky because you can't just implement it in one place. It has to be, you really have to overhaul the system as we know it. And then you have to make sure that everyone you're sending money to is also doing that, or there's going to be a technological gap. Where do you see the industry going, and how long do you think it's going to take us to get there?
That's a very good question. I mean, we started seeing, that happening, especially, with stable coins achieving product market fits, with cross-border payments, and that cannot happen, in silo, right? that have to happen with agreements, with collaboration with traditional financial institutions, like banks, right? Opening, their infrastructure, to stablecoin platforms, for companies to, or, global payment platforms to be able to process, seamless, global payments. So, you know, uh, give it 5 to 10 years, we will see, um, you know, uh, that segment of, the industry really, really, um, like we will see, the full collaboration in that area where, uh, like cross-border payments is completely refined, utilizing, blockchain, especially with stable coins. So I'm, like in the next 5 to 10 years, I see that happening.
Do you think stablecoins and cross-border payments are the best use cases for the technology?
Well, one of the best use cases, I won't say the best. Another area, that I'm seeing is enabling, um, global citizens, people from anywhere in the world to participate in global trade, right? In global finance. So right now, to buy Tesla stock, if you are not in the US, you can't buy, like just like, somebody from Ghana can't just like, buy, use, like buy Tesla stock, on Robinhood, right? But, with blockchain, it's, making it decentralized. You can be in Ghana, and buy a token, right, and trade a token. So it is, like making global finance borderless. So it's not just cross-border payments, but other areas of finance it's making it, borderless. Like, so people participating in, global trade, people participating in global finance, right, being able to buy a stock, from anywhere in the world, right, being able to participate in real estate investment, right, from anywhere all over the world, not just, in the country where you live in, right? It's what, blockchain technology is doing, really decentralizing, global finance.
And what does it mean for people and businesses when finance is decentralized?
Uh, definitely creating, lots of opportunities, right? Now, instead of, that limitation of, like, let's say just 1 million people participating in your financial products, right? Now you have billions of people, being able to participate in that. So it creates a huge opportunity for the people and also for those businesses.
You mentioned in the bio that you sent that you have 500 or over 500 US based customers. Do you have any non-US customers at this time?
No.
What would it take? Is it a regulatory issue? Is it just geographic and startup growth? Is there anything holding back cross-border payments that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, one of the main things is regulation,
Mm.
right? Cross-border payments is highly regulated. There's a lot of hoops that you have to jump to participate in the industry. So I mean, regulation is definitely, one of the main things, that is like really, really limiting cross-border payments industry.
Okay, because I'm not super familiar with cross-border payments,
Yeah.
and particularly their regulation, mostly, you know, real estate, supply chain, and securities
Yeah.
on my end. Who regulates that, and what regulations are in place? How do you navigate that?
Yeah, so different countries have different regulatory bodies. In the US, we have the FinCEN, under under Treasury, and also every state apart from the state of Montana also have, regulatory bodies that. So for a cross-border payment, you have to apply for a money transmitter license from the state that you want to operate in. So so going through all those like licenses from every state, definitely can be challenging for cross-border payments companies.
And you need the license even if you're operating with digital assets and stablecoins?
Yes.
What stablecoin is most prominent right now? Is it USDC, USDT, and on a global scale, what are most people exchanging with?
On a global scale, I mean, it's USDT. That's the number one. Definitely USDC is catching up. I mean, I saw that they recently partnered with Binance. But as at now, USDT is still the number one stable coin out there.
Do you think with the potential decline of the US dollar and the rise of other currencies that I mean, what does that mean for stablecoins? Because if we're using a stablecoin that is backed by the U.S. dollar and the U.S. dollar is weakening, do you think that people are going to be introducing their own stablecoins? I mean, I guess it's sort of a hypothetical question. What does the future of stablecoins look like? What do you think?
Well, I mean, what I think is no matter what, the global trade will still need the U.S. dollars, right? And so even and yes, other countries will create their own token, but that is where the CBDC comes in, right? Creating their own token will allow them to seamlessly also participate in the global trade. But I believe US-backed stablecoins will still dominate the stablecoin industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about CBDC because a lot of people have a misconception about what a central bank digital currency actually is. A lot of people perceive it to be as some sort of currency that we will all be forced to use, but really it is a back office financial instrument for the banks so that they can to perform these exchanges, these swaps and settlements that we're talking about. Let's just start with your perception and understanding so that the listener can understand what a CBDC is.
Yeah, so CBDC is like a central bank issued token. So let's say Nigeria, right? Nigerian naira can, then the country can issue NGN token, which would be this, like the CBDC for Nigeria. Ghana cedis can then be, tokenized, right? So that tokenizing the currency to make it e-currency. Let me just put it that way. So instead from the paper form to a digital currency. So if we look at the history of money, right? Money, currency, or money has, reformed, from, using, like it's been different forms, right? There was a time it was in trade by barter, right? And since trade by barter, there's been different forms of money for people to participate in trades before they started issuing coins and paper money that we are using today. And so with the, with emerging technologies, with, blockchain technology, definitely it's just a matter of time, right? Before humanity move away from paper physical currencies to digital currencies. And so blockchain technology is quickly bringing that into existence. And so for each country's central banks to tokenize their own currency help will help the citizens of those countries to be able to quickly participate on global trade, instead of going through, waiting for days before they can actually, before their currency can, convert to other currency, and, make payments, across borders, digitizing their currency, right, in the form of CBDC will enable the, citizens of, countries to be able to quickly participate in global trade, because they will be able to quickly make payments with CBDC.
I think there's some confusion around digital currency in general as I think about it, because if I pull up my bank app right now, I see
Yeah.
a number in there and I can send a transfer to another person, and then that number appears in their account. But that requires very different payment rails than the tokenized currency that we're talking about. Do you want to shed some light on the difference between the current digital movement of money versus a blockchain-based movement of money? Why is that transition happening? What are the benefits? Is it transparency? And how do we, I guess CBDC is part of how we make that transition.
Yeah. So currently, maybe I should use, the US for example, right? You can send money. I can send money to you right now with Zelle, and from bank account to your bank account within minutes. But when it comes to actual payment, right? When I go to somewhere and I charge my card, there is card processing fees, an average of like 2.9% plus 30 cents. But when it comes to CBDC, right, a tokenized currency, uh, right now, when sending money from sending money from my wallet to your wallet can be as low as 49 cents.
And why is that? Why is it so much cheaper?
It's, believe it's the it depends on the blockchain that the tokenized funds it's on, right? But that's, blockchain has really made that possible. Making it really, really inexpensive than, the legacy infrastructures that, banks are using today.
Do you think part of the reason is because when I make a payment on a blockchain, it's not a corporation deciding the price? It is just the amount of workload that it takes in order to essentially create, a block of information and process the transaction, and then it goes to anyone who's running validation, the participants, the nodes, where it's more decentralized, right? And it's not intentionally priced into the system so that someone can make money. It's just based off of a very precise calculation of exactly how much energy or computation power was required in order to validate this transaction. So it seems like the removal of intermediaries
Yes.
is the big savings for this type of payment structure.
Yes. Definitely the removal of intermediaries is a big one that is really, like reducing the fees that one is incurring when making payments or when, sending funds to someone else. Today, when you look at the structures out there, when you look at the network of how many intermediaries are in between a movement of funds and everyone deducting their own fees, it really adds up. But with blockchain, it's a matter of, okay, how many, like the validators, in between that quickly validate the transaction and, making sure that it's like inexpensive as possible, right? So that's a really, a major factor of why, blockchain technology is making, movement of funds, very inexpensive. Yeah.
If blockchain removes these intermediaries, are you seeing a lot of pushback from the intermediaries? And is that one of the reasons why adoption of the technology has been slower?
It's very funny because, yes, that's why, the adoption has been very, very slow. And, when you hear about, CEO of a big bank, right? Uh, saying blockchain, saying Bitcoin or blockchain technology is useless. But they are, quickly building their own infrastructure to process cross-border payments. It's a strategy that they've been using, right, to slow down the development of the technology while they are, speeding up, so that they can be one of the leading, leading player, of utilizing blockchain for cross-border payment. So we know, um, the traditional financial institutions have, played like they do not want, nobody in the business, right, will want, competitors or disruptors to disrupt them, from, how they, generate their revenue. But from what we're seeing now, like it's a confirmation that no matter how much or how long they try to slow down the development, that the blockchain is a viable technology. And right now, it's a matter of, how am I going to put it? Like, it's a matter of partnership, right? Yes, no matter, we've tried to slow this down, but it's not being slowed down, right? It's actually, instead of being slowed down, it's actually, there's, more, development on the technology. And so, so traditional financial institutions now are being forced to adopt it before they get left out, of it.
Right. It's viable and it's inevitable.
Yeah.
I think it's been demonstrated over the past few years that the technology is not going away, even if there's a crypto winter. And I can definitely see that in that time when you had these big execs coming out and saying, look, the price of Bitcoin dropped. That means it was always a bad investment. They were actually buying it up. They were buying it up. They were building technology.
Yes.
And now that they're all in,
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to promote it as much as possible.
Exactly.
And they want the most market share. And another thing is, I don't think that JP Morgan wants to use technology developed by Goldman Sachs or Citibank or HSBC. They all want to be the solution. And it creates an interesting atmosphere where there's different solutions, different competitive advantages, and everyone's trying to create their own payment rails, which is okay, but it does require interoperability.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about interoperability and why it's important, what it is, why it's important, and what you're doing to promote that, because I'm sure you are.
Yes, like I mentioned, blockchain technology cannot, operate, on a standalone use case. For us to really utilize the use case of blockchain, it must be, in collaboration, right? With traditional institutions. So let me pick financial institutions, for example. For stable coins to be successful, right, to really be utilized for cross-border payments, there must be, it must, there must be a joint development, for that to work seamlessly, right? From when somebody wants to make a payment, let's say somebody a business wants to pay another business in China, right? The business in the US, their fiat, their US dollars is sitting in a US bank account. And so when they want to make the payment utilizing blockchain, it definitely will have to call the API of that bank in the US, right, to release that US dollars before it's then converted in the middle through stable coins. And the bank in China will also receive a call, right, to release a certain amount of Chinese yuan to the business in China. So stablecoin itself can just operate in silo, right? There must be a joint operation development, for all of these platforms and players to talk to each other for that movement to flow seamlessly.
And across chains, because if each financial institution wants their own private chain, and then there's the public chains, those have to be able to interact with each other. And as I understand, this is where CBDCs play an important role in interoperability, because if we have currency that exists on one chain and I am transferring it, so it has to be transferred to a different chain, we can't have duplicates of that currency. So in that transfer, a swap has to occur.
Yeah.
And it has to happen very quickly for, how blockchain is going to operate. And let's say hypothetically, I'm at a store, I'm using a credit card, and it has, a certain currency on there, and the payment processor could be on a different chain. These swaps need to be happening instantaneously.
Yeah.
And then all the strings attached, the currency has to be burned so that there's not duplicates. It has to be recorded properly, and then a token has to exist on the other chain. So there's all of these intricacies in when you are refining the cross-border payment process. And then, of course, you mentioned APIs, because it's not just the movement of value itself, but then all the software attached to that we've built. It's really complex. I can't imagine what it's like building a payments, cross-border payments, blockchain-based cross-border payments to make it, even more complex startup. So I guess a good segue. What's it been like over the past 3 years of building this? You've got 500 customers now. How did you grow that? If you can talk about it, who are some of your customers? What's the value that they're realizing? What got them on board, and where are your plans to go from here?
Yeah, good question. It's been a great experience, building CrossCode. Like I mentioned, when I shared my experience, the solution with friends and family, and they started, sharing with other people within their network. And so we quickly, organically, built, that over 500 early, adopters of the solution. And it's because, they are hungry for a solution that is actually, fast and inexpensive, to send funds across, to another country. I remember there was a time we wanted to pay a technology partner in the UK, and when they sent us their payment link, it wasn't working. But because we are in the cross-border space, we were able to quickly utilize our solution to pay that partner in the UK, which ended up saving us over $100 in fees, and saved us time, processing time. Imagine if we are not in that space, the slowed down that would have cost on our part and on the part of the technology partner from receiving their payments. And that is happening to many businesses out there today. And that's why initially CrossCudi started out as a direct to consumer, remittance platform. For people to use our app to send money across borders. But we've since, pivoted to a B2B platform for, building APIs for regional banks, global payment platforms, and merchants to be able to move funds across borders using stablecoin.
That was my next question. If
Yeah.
you're primarily B2C or B2B right now, and
Yeah.
which what's the primary makeup of your customers, and where do you see the solution long term seeing widespread adoption, the consumer or businesses?
I mean, it's both, but right now, I mean, we've, like we said, we've shifted our focus from direct to consumer to businesses, and so we are building a technology platform that businesses that are serving direct to consumers can plug into to process those, direct to consumer payments. And also for global merchants to be able to pay suppliers and also receive payments. I mean, because we believe, it's like the current cross-border payment infrastructures is really, really like make it like expensive for these businesses, and we see an opportunity to quickly solve that problem on the enterprise side.
Yeah, I think businesses could relate to it a little bit more. Are these e-commerce businesses? I know that you said regional banks. What type of businesses are looking for cross-border payment solutions?
Like business that have like contract workers outside of the country, businesses that that like that participate in like global commerce, like a business in the US that wants to pay their a supplier in China. So businesses like that. I mean, we've there's a particular company in the US that said they have developers in Brazil, and it's really expensive and being challenging, paying these their workers in another country. That definitely, like, this is something that would be very, very useful for them to quickly make to quickly pay their workers across borders.
I see. I
Yeah.
see. Yeah, it makes sense. I've paid for outsourced software development, and I know that it can be difficult
Yeah.
and expensive at times. When I incorporated in Hong Kong, uh, for whatever reason, we were using PayPal to pay for our the firm that helped us handle all the paperwork for incorporation and have a principal office there. And I remember that the fees were egregious. Well, the fees to actually move money via PayPal and perform that currency would be the right word. Swap? I can't think of
Conversion.
Conversion. Yes, the currency conversion. It was egregious. So I'm glad that there's solutions, like CrossCudi coming up and helping businesses, because those dollars add up, especially if you're doing business overseas frequently.
Yeah.
I want to ask, because I've heard about, a few payments platforms. Obviously, it's a really good solution, and that's why people are working to develop solutions and get to market. What would you say is your competitive edge when it comes to cross-border payments?
Yeah, good question. I mean, definitely, more competitors mean, it's one, it's a space that is ripe for solution, and means, and there's business, right? But where CrossCode is different is we have, I call it a manual experience, right? we are, we are not like looking out for a solution to solve, right? We've experienced, we have that first-hand experience of the pain point. An example is the technology partner in the UK that we wanted to pay, and we have that experience, and our solution actually worked, right? And so we are building, so which means we have a solution that actually solve the problem, and that can solve, so many other businesses' problems as well. And so, yes, there are other companies out there, they have the idea, they are building in the space, they see the opportunity, but for us, right, we have a blueprint, that we are building out of, like we have experienced the problem, and we have solved it, and we are bringing that solution to other businesses out there.
I want to ask about wallets because a really good customer experience, user experience, and interface can be a game changer or breaker, depending on the company. How do you go about setting up wallets for people or for companies and helping them understand the technology and to flatten that learning curve?
Yeah, good question. We know, like with every new technology, every new solution, to increase the rate of adoption, means you have to educate, it's all about education, right? You have to educate people to understand, what the technology is, the solution that you are presenting, and how to utilize that solution, and also protect themselves. When it comes to financial transactions, especially cross-border, transactions, there's a lot of fraud and risk out there. So education is definitely very important to help people understand, the solution, and in terms of like the wallet usage. We are not building a wallet. We are partnering with wallet service provider to enable the users to be able to like have a secured wallet for them to transact.
Do you directly promote that this is a blockchain-based product, or have you seen that this makes people, just the technological concept makes people uncomfortable? Do you see value in promoting it as blockchain-based product?
Yeah, so when it comes to direct to consumer, there's no need to promote like this is a blockchain-based product, as long as it's solving their problem. But when it comes to a B2B, right, a business wants to understand the technology that you are presenting, that they are going to be utilizing. So it's definitely, yes, we have to like let them business know that this is a blockchain product, and that is the reason why it's and this is the solution it's presenting, right? Making it seamless for them to process cross-border payments.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, we ourselves at Building we still promote blockchain for the educational aspect, and tokenization is prominent right now, so it makes sense to talk about it.
Yeah.
But it's no longer the driving factor. I think that blockchain has been replaced by words like transparency, trust, anti-fraud, or immutability, and those words are more familiar to people. And if blockchain does that, then that's great. People don't necessarily need to know that unless they're directly searching for a blockchain-based solution. I think a lot of companies are starting to do that, which is good.
Yeah.
If the technology is no longer the most interesting thing about a company, and it's more about the value proposition, the why should I do this? Why does it benefit me? That shows maturation of the technology, and this is how startups are setting themselves apart, yours and ours, and showing, hey, save money using this tool, save time using this tool, and that just resonates with people. I think that's a really good sign overall of the state of the the industry. Because in 2021, when you had all of this COVID money that was going into startups, they could say, this is an app for walking dogs using the blockchain. And as soon as you have that word blockchain in there, people would latch onto it.
Yeah.
Now we have to get really creative because we almost have to describe our blockchain solutions without using the word blockchain. In case we scare away companies or investors or whomever. So I think that this, just talking about how the current system is, its flaws, and how we're resolving that, and how that benefits people is really, really great. As we approach the end here, I want to give you an opportunity for a little call to action. Is there, who should be reaching out to you to leverage your solution? Do you have anything coming up that people should know about? Fundraising rounds, events you're going to, places you're speaking at? What's next for you? How do people get involved?
Yeah. Thank you, Matthew. Yeah. So right now, with all the excitement and we are quickly building our solution out. And definitely we would like and we're also raising right now so that we can quickly properly set up and fully build out the enterprise platform so that we can quickly launch to market. So investors are welcome to reach out. My LinkedIn is Bobola Odebiyi. I'm the one with the CPA, and they can also check out crosskudi.com for information on how to really to reach out to us if they want to participate in our round right now. If they have missed out on Bridge or missed out on some other companies out there, there's opportunity to participate in CrossCudi fundraising round right now.
And I'll make sure to have all those links in the show notes so that if people want to connect with you and set up a meeting or check out your solution, they'll be able to scroll down wherever they're listening to, tap on those links, and check out what you're working on. For 2025, any milestones, goals, or exciting things coming up for CrossCudi?
Yes. 2025, the goal for us is to start partnering with strategic partners like regional banks and global payments platforms to utilize CrossCudi to process their cross-border payments. There's 2025 is definitely going to be a great year. And we very, very we're looking forward to all the opportunities in the new year.
Awesome. Well, Bobola, you've got an amazing story, being an immigrant, then working in the corporate life and pursuing what I think a lot of people would describe as the American dream, where you can actually go start a company that solves a problem that you've interacted with. And I mean, that's an impressive story. And now, of course, after 3 years, you're getting that recognition, you're getting out to markets, getting customers, and people recognize the value of what you're working on. And I think just the conversation that we had today offers a lot of value to people, especially from an educational aspect.
Yeah.
Folks are trying to understand, why should I accept payments on something that is blockchain based?
Mm-hmm.
Or why should I conduct payments? Why should I send money in this way? And as we realize how antiquated the current financial rails are, which people don't realize that. They think, well, if it works, if I can send money, then that means that it's doing its job. But the current financial systems are nearly put together with shoestring and bubblegum, as I heard someone describe it. And it's time for that transformation, that sort of transformation that you're initiating and participating in with your solution. Okay. So I want to thank you for your time, for your insights. I certainly encourage everyone to head down to the show notes and reach out with you, start a conversation, whether it's about being a startup founder or how to implement such a solution. And then I want to thank everyone who's been tuning in for this episode of Code and Concrete. We invite you back for future conversations, all of our listeners, and of course you, Bobola, to talk about whatever it is, in technology, because this is super prominent, especially the blockchain based stuff.
Yeah.
And I know that we're trying to get into more payment based solutions. So we'll be talking again, that's for sure. All right. Well, thank you very much. And, I wish you a good rest of your day, and all of our listeners as well.